Alright, so today is February 21st. Sorry I'm not able to be with you today, but Mr. Tucker is here with you today. So I would hope that you are just as respectful and pleasant as you are for me, for Mr. Tucker. So today's objective, we're going to be identifying sides of right triangles and also using some trig ratios. But just as I sent out the email last night via Edline, if you are not signed up for Edline, you need to make sure you have an email because I send out updates and you won't get them if you don't have an email associated with Edline. But I'm actually giving you an extra night to work on that Polygon worksheet because I did make a video. So hopefully that will be helpful to you. So if you did not get my email, you need to go check Edline to number one, get the video on the polygons, and then number two, to make sure you put an email address in there for me. Your activator today, you should have one more space left over on that warm-up sheet that we went ahead and used from the last couple of weeks. I'd like you to go ahead and work backwards to solve for the area of a regular polygon, or if the area of a regular polygon is 5,040 meters squared, and the perimeter is 252 meters. I want you to find the length of the apophyse. So again, the formula that you're going to want to use is area equals 1/2 the apophyse times the perimeter. So if you would like to go ahead and pause the video at this moment so that you can go ahead and solve this problem, please go ahead and pause the video now. Okay, so you should have had enough time to work on this problem. So for the area, you're going to want to plug in the 5,040. You're going to keep the 1/2. You're looking for the apophyse, and your perimeter is 252. Easiest way to solve this problem is to take half of 252. And if you take half of 252, you are going to get 126 times the apophyse. Now you're going to want to divide both sides by 126. And the apophyse is equal to 5,040 divided by 126, which is going to give you 40. That is the apophyse, so that is just in meters. So that's an example of working backwards in a problem if you have the area and you define one aspect or another of a polygon. Alright, so we're going to go right into trigonometry. So Mr. Tucker, if you'd like to go ahead and hand that worksheet out that I left for you, we are going to go through, first of all, the trigonometry worksheet T1 is all about labeling opposites, adjacents, and hypotenuses. Okay? So in this example that I have up here on the board, this is not one of your problems, but what it is the little rounded mark, which in this case is right here. That's going to identify the angle that we're referencing. Okay, so let me explain. So first off, our hypotenuse. Our hypotenuse is always opposite of the right angle. So here's my right angle. I'm going to bring it directly opposite, and that's going to be my hypotenuse. Okay? The opposite side is what you should identify next. And how do you know whether to put it here, put it here, put it here? Well, that has to do with the angle that we're referencing. If we are referencing this angle right here that has a little tick mark in it, then the opposite side is across from it. So I'm going to put my opposite side right here. Then all that's left is my adjacent side. So I'm going to put that on the third side that's not moved. Okay? So let's take a look at an example here on your worksheet. Alright, so on your worksheet here, you are labeling opposite using O for opposite, using A for adjacent, and using H for hypotenuse. So here's my right angle. I'm going to look across from my right angle. That's always going to be the hypotenuse. Then I'm going to look for the angle I'm referencing. Here's the angle I'm referencing. So I go across from that, and that's my opposite side. And the only one that's left is my A adjacent side. Okay? Number two. Here's my right angle, look across, and that's my hypotenuse. Here's the angle I'm referencing, here's opposite, and here's adjacent. Okay? Mr. Tucker, or whoever's running the video, go ahead and pause this video now, and I'm going to give everybody about 5 minutes to go through and label all of their O, A's, and H's for each of these problems on your T1 worksheet. right. So now that you've had a chance to go through these, let's see if you got them right. So here we go. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you. Okay. So number 1 we did together. Number 2 we did together. Number 3, hypotenuse. This is the opposite side adjacent. Hypotenuse, opposite side adjacent. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8. Go through and check and make sure you've identified your hypotenuse, your opposite, and adjacent, because that's going to be really key to seeing if you can set up these trig ratios, which is what we're going to be looking at in just a couple minutes. All right, if you need to pause it, just to make sure you got these right, go ahead and pause. But we are going to move on. All right, the next part of trig is being able to use your calculator correctly. So, if you have a calculator with you today, then you need to have it out. If you don't have your calculator, then you need to look on with somebody else. So right now, you should be on your home screen. The key to being able to put these in correctly is making sure your calculator is set to the correct mode. Now notice my mode button is in red, your mode button might be in some other color, but it's right next to the second key. You need to make sure that your calculator is on, you arrow down, it's on degree. So when you see the word degree, highlight it, press enter, and the word degree should be highlighted. Once it's highlighted, you can just do second quit, and it will be in your degree mode. Okay? The best way to check and make sure you're in the right mode, just do sine of 0.5. And if you do sine of 0.5, you should get 0.0087, or you can do sine of anything, really. Okay, you can do sine of 30, you can do sine of 25, I don't care what you do sine of. Sine of 30 is always 0.5. Okay, so that was an easy one. But you should be able to get the correct answer here if you're putting these in correctly and you've set your calculator to the correct mode. So again, that's mode, arrow down, make sure the degree is highlighted. Okay, it should look like this on your screen. Okay, this one has some other things in it, but don't worry about that. Alright, so on the T2 worksheet, I want you to do sine of 25 and hit enter. And you should get 0.4226, and I want you to round these to 4 decimal places. I know I said 3, I just want to confuse you. We're going to round to 4. So this is 0.4226. Okay? Go to the next one, cosine. Do cosine, this is cos, C-O-S, of 53. Hit enter, and again, write down 4 decimal places, 0.6018. So 0.6018. Okay, so go ahead and complete all of those up to number 18. We're not going to go over these because you can check them in your calculator to make sure you're getting them right. So we're actually not going to go over these. But if you want to pause here and take a couple minutes to just complete these and make sure you're getting the correct decimals, just get practice with putting in sine, cosine, and tangent. It's really not that difficult. All right, so pause if you need to, but I'm going to move on. Okay. Big idea here. All right. So I want you to write this down. So we're going on to worksheet T3 now. So worksheet T3. Find worksheet T3. Trigonometry worksheet T3, which is calculating sides. I want you to write this down. SOHCAHTOA. 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 The biggest key here is being able to choose the correct ratio. Okay, now you might be going, what is SOHCAHTOA? What does that stand for? Well, that stands for, in sine, I want to use the ratio opposite over hypotenuse. In cosine, I want to use the ratio adjacent over hypotenuse. And in tangent, I want to use the ratio opposite over adjacent. So what does that look like? Okay. Well, again, here's my reference angle. Remember that reference angle we just talked about in worksheet T1? If that's my reference angle, okay, and I have let's say this side right here, the side opposite, okay? Let's say that I'm given that side. I'm just going to call it the O side, the opposite side, okay? And I am trying to find, let's say, the hypotenuse. This is my hypotenuse, which is the H side, okay? Then I know I'm going to use sine because this is my reference angle. I have the opposite side, and I'm looking for the hypotenuse. Okay, so I'm going to use sine in that case. Okay. Again, here's my reference angle. Same reference angle. I don't care what the angle measure is. Okay. In cosine, if I have the adjacent side, and let's say I'm still wanting to find the hypotenuse, then I'm going to use the cosine ratio. And tangent, let's say in tangent I have the opposite side and I'm looking for the adjacent side. Okay? Then I'm going to use tangent because I have opposite and I'm looking for adjacent. See? SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. So it's really, you're looking for which angle's involved. Ask yourself that question. Which sides are involved, and then finally answer the question which ratio is needed. Okay? So let's look at some of these. Oh, there they are. Sine, opposite over hypotenuse, cosine, adjacent. We just talked about those. Okay. Alright, so trigonometry worksheets. T3. Let's take a look here. Here's my reference angle. Again, I don't care what the reference angle is really necessarily. In this case, I am looking for the O opposite, and I have the H, hypotenuse. So again, reference angle O and H. Which is it? So, oh, there it is. CAHTOA. I have the hypotenuse and I'm looking for O. So, S-O-H. So I'm going to use sine. So what I'd like you to write on your paper, this is what I'm trying to write. Sine of 35 equals opposite, which is B, over hypotenuse, which is 16. And that's it. That's all I want you to write. Okay, let's look at 2. Reference angle. I'm given O opposite, and I'm finding H hypotenuse. So, OH. So I'm going to write sine 67 equals opposite 8 over C hypotenuse. That's all. Just write that. Look at 3. Angle. Okay. In this case, I'm not given opposite. I am given A. Well, I'm actually trying to find A, adjacent. And I have H hypotenuse. So, which one uses an A and H? So uses O and H. C uses A and H. So this time I'm going to write cosine of 54 equals adjacent D over hypotenuse 25. Okay. So this is what I want you to do the rest of class. Finish up this worksheet is all I want you to do. If you finish this worksheet, then you can go on to T4 and you can do the same thing. Notice in T4 though, you're missing the angle, so you're going to put the variable where the angle measure is. Okay? But this is what I want you working on the rest of class. And if you finish this up and you want to go over to the polygon worksheet and work on that for a little while, you can do that as well. But Mr. Tucker, don't forget to collect warm-up sheets. If you didn't do that at the beginning of class, I forgot to mention that after warm-up. But we do need to collect those warm-up sheets so that we have them ready for me on Monday to grade when I return. So I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Please continue